Welcome, everybody, to Stay Curious. I'm your host, Mark Marquette. So glad to join you again after a few days off. We've got to talk about, of course, shuttles of the month of September because two shuttles were launched on this date in history, September 9th. And here we are in 2025, 14 years ago from the last shuttle landing at Kennedy Space Center, STS-135. And we're still talking about them. We still love all the information about them because we've got over 300 astronauts that rode those shuttles, walking around our communities talking about them. And we're gonna a couple rode the shuttles that we're going to talk about today that we've met, and so appreciate we will enjoy sharing that with you. We being my friend Marty Winkle on our Streamlabs promo board over here. And Marty, good to see you. Thank you for taking care of business and three beautiful reruns that we had while I was up in Tennessee taking care of some family business. And good to get back to Tennessee with those beautiful mountains up there in the Bristol, Johnson City, Kingsport area. Driving through Asheville and where Marty's got some kin folk up in Weaverville. Marty is really pretty up there, and the leaves were starting to fall, not change colors yet, but certainly I was dragging a lot of leaves into the house over the weekend. So good to be back. We've got a few things going on this weekend that we want to make you aware of. Mr. Jay Honeycutt's going to talk tomorrow night at our kickoff of a NASA Legends dinner. Tickets, you could get in at the last minute, but you have to send your email in today at the Italian American Club because they can only cook so many meals. They don't want to overcook the meals number wise. So we have an okay response to this, but as we know, times are hard economically, and $50 for dinner per person, though, is reasonable for a fundraiser. When the meal's costing us half of that, we hope to do better in the future with this. So, but Mr. Honeycutt, thank you for your time and patience and put together a little program that you're going to see on Stay Curious here in a week or two, as he's really kind of looking at the Artemis program as the former Kennedy Space Center director. So our space memorabilia show will be November 8th at the Hyatt Place. We're gearing up for that. If you're a vendor and want a table, it's $40 a table. And, we want quality merchandise there. And so we'll have plenty of people buying. Tables each are $40, and that's to help us pay for the room that we're going to be renting there. So we'll be talking more about that. And Marty, we're reprising Space Trivia Question of the Day. And today's question, Marty, take it away on that UCAC family microphone.
Okay. What part of the Space Shuttle orbiter is referred to as the eyes?
And Rosa Lee is anxious for that answer there. And let me put up my Facebook or YouTube here to say hello to y'all. And I missed you. Hope y'all missed me. Greetings from Huntsville. Jim McDade's there. Tom Usiak, thank you, Tom, for being there. Dean Babcock, Mark Thel, Tom Celentano, Steve Jokums from Fox Lake, Illinois. Doug Forrest is up in Los Angeles, or over in Los Angeles. And RG Jubilee, what part of the shuttle, she wants to know, are referred to the eyes? We will save Friday to tell you what's the orbiter, the first one to have the eyes, because Eric Baker, a test project engineer, is going to talk about all of the chronological changes that happened through the 30-year era of the shuttle. So what part of the orbiter is called the eyes? Who knows there? Who wants to make a guess? Marty will tell you there, and we'll tell you at the end of the show. We have 11 beautiful shuttle orbiters launched in the month of September. But guess what? Columbia and Challenger shut out. They didn't have any launches in the month of September. Atlantis and Discovery, 4 each, and Endeavour, 3. All right, so busy for the last 3 orbiters up there. And we've got some great missions that we're going to talk about all month long, including two dockings with the Mir space station there in the bottom. Uh, is STS-86, and got the other one's 79, cooperation in space there. So we talked about 69 and 106. We're going to talk about 64 and 115 today, launched on the same date, September 9th, one in 1994, the other 12 years later in 2006. And we know a couple astronauts on both of those missions that we'll talk about here in a few minutes and tell you the symbolism behind their mission patch. Well, I love when this story comes around. You know, Marty, we've done this for 5 years in March, so we're 5.5 years. I wrote up on the board, we got about 1,355 episodes under our belt. And I love this story when it comes around. This is the Schackel Mountain, okay, in Austria. And in 1931, an eccentric solid rocket pioneer, Friedrich Schmedli, on September 9th, 1931, launched 333 letters on a rocket from the top of this mountain in Austria to the town of Smynrijk, 2 miles below, in a successful attempt to bring postal rocket service to his country. And here's his poster that he had on there, Rocket Mail. There's the rocket that he built in 1931. Okay, think about this. 1931. This isn't a V2 rocket of the 1940s, World War II. This is solid rocket. Okay. Did this man know the great rocket engineer Robert Goddard or not? Schmedli started his post-rocket Rural One Express to citizens below Schackel Mountain in Austria in February and finally had success in September. Okay. Gee, he must have burned up a lot of mail on the way there. Hopefully nobody tucked any checks in them. This was a real thing. And just people infatuated with this, all right? There's a German rocketeer, their German postal stamp cover there from trying to see the date on that. Postage stamps and postal first day covers have kind of gone I don't know, not very popular today in the quarter way through the 21st century. There's another one of his rockets, solid rocket booster. Fascinated with fireworks as a kid, Schmedli once launched a scientific instrument and rocket in 1928 from a balloon 50,000 feet over Graz, one of Austria's biggest cities. It was never found. He also worked rockets to collect meteorological data and aerial photography, all right? And, well, he tried to do these rocket launches, we go back here, but they were actually discontinued. They were mostly financed by special postage stamps. And the Austrian Post Office in 1934, 3 years after this started, forbid him financing. Then the Austrian government forbade the possession of explosives, so private rocket development could no longer be carried out. And when at the onset of World War II, Schmedli destroyed his rocket factory. He didn't want the research to be used for destruction. He turned to propulsion systems for boats, all right? Lived in 1994, so love to hear this guy, one of the unknown heroes of the rocket world, wanting to send mail, okay, by your rocket engines on there. So now you know, big day in history for that. All right. We've got a birthday today. All right. Happy birthday to 73-year-old Lee Miller Emil Moran. Lee Moran was born in Manchester, New Hampshire on September 9th, 1952. He has 6 academic degrees, tying him with what astronaut do you think, Marty, has 6 academic degrees also?
That would be Story Musgrave.
You're right about that. Morin, there he is in later life. He's 73 now, veteran of STS-110 in 2002, and 2 EVAs building the International Space Station with 11 days in space. He did a 2 EVAs on building the space station. There's a cool picture of him where he pulled back the visor there so he could get a good look around. Formerly educated with 6 degrees, tied with Story Musgrave, he graduated from Western Reserve Academy in Hudson, Ohio, though he's born in Manchester, New Hampshire. A Bachelor of Science from University of New Hampshire. Bachelor of Science degree in Biochemistry from New York University. Doctorate of Medicine from New York University School of Medicine. Doctorate of Microbiology, again from New York University, and then he received a Master of Public Health degree from the University of Alabama at Birmingham. So macrobiology is his thing. So hope he's having a good day. A one and done astronaut in 2002. And of course, 2003 was the Columbia accident. So that put an end probably to his career in there. So Lee Moran, hope you get to meet him someday out there. All right, shuttles of the month of September, there they are. We're going to talk about 2 of them here and have some behind the scenes of at least one of the astronauts. STS-64 was launched September 9th, 1994 at 4:12 p.m. And STS-115 was launched in 2006, 12 years later, at 11:15 a.m. Let's see, one was Orbiter Atlantis, 115 was Atlantis, 64 was Discovery. So let's look at those missions. Here is the crew of 64. You've got seated in the middle there is Commander Richard Richards, his 4th and final flight to space. Blaine Hammond is to his right or our left there, his 2nd of 2 flights. He probably could have been a pilot, but retired after 2 flights as been a commander. Who knows why they stepped down? Sometimes it's family issues. That is Susan Helms, her 2nd of 4 flights. She's a general in the Air Force. And in the back row, you got 2 spacewalkers there. On the left is Mark Lee, 3 of 4 flights. Carl Meade, 3 of 3 flights on the right. And in the middle is Jerry Linenger, his 1st of 2 flights. And his most famous flight, of course, was when he spent time on the Mir space station. Now, what is interesting about this is the first activity of the LIDAR in space technological experiment called LIGHT. But let's look at the symbolism behind the patch. Got that right here. The STS-64 mission patch depicts the Space Shuttle Discovery in a payload bay to Earth attitude with its primary payload, the LIDAR in space technology experiment operating in support of mission to planet Earth. This was a LIDAR system that uses a 3-wave laser symbolized by the 3 gold rays emanating from the star in the payload bay that form part of the astronaut symbol. So they're using the astronaut symbol, huge there, of what this LIDAR does. The main objective of LIGHT 2 is to gather data about the Earth's troposphere and stratosphere, represented by the clouds in the dual-colored Earth limb on the bottom there. A secondary payload on 64 is the Free Flyer Spartan 201 satellite shown on the Remote Manipulator System arm post-retrieval there above the orbiting astronaut on the left. The Remote Manipulator System also operated another payload Shuttle Plume Impingement Flight Experiment, SPIFEX. And there was a newly tested vehicular activity device called the SAFER, Simplified Aid for EVA Rescue, represented symbolically by the two small nozzles on the backpacks of the two untethered crew. See the little nozzles on the bottom there? And I wanted to check. I was going to check earlier. This is a different explanation of the artwork than might be in this book that many of us have. There we are. Nope, that's the same thing that's in there. I wondered that. So it practiced a backpack system that is deployed now. And of course, this is 1994. So you've got 21 years of, 31 years, it'd be 94, of having a SAFER on a backpack there. And when you think about that, there's the crew in space right there. Yeah, Marty, go ahead.
Mark, there's several good comments being made, but I want to read one. You may want to read the others also. But Jim McDade said, I launched my first cricket astronaut from our backyard in 1966. Jiminy Cricket survived and was released back into the wild, where he probably created as a hero by his cricket orchestra mates.
All right, Jim McDade. I can see you doing that there. Okay. The cricket survived. Some of maybe an Estes rocket he had there. Thank you all for saying welcoming me back. Glad that you're supporting our program even when I'm not here, because I am here on the reruns, right, Marty? John Stewart was the Scottish rocket pioneer, says Robert Law, and he talks about a founding rocket there. They flew mail and launched a 3-stage rocket, and he was influenced by Smedley. Thank you for that information there. And Amy Collins, read that, Marty. You see Amy Collins' comment there?
I saw it. I got it. Okay. Jim McDade and I launched a tree frog. Imagine, he told his friends, are seeing the trees from above.
I love the human condition there that Jim McDade says she had a more advanced crew capsule there. So I have heard some stories from Pad 36 in Cape Canaveral that a few animals may have been launched that weren't talked about back in the day. But yeah, very cool. Thank you for giving the enjoying talking about your backyard fun in there. I too probably tried to do that. I didn't get into rockets. Really didn't have. I put my money in telescopes. Okay, back down. There's our crew in space there. Now, Marty, we've met Mark Lee. He's a popular astronaut that autographs a couple times a year out there. And I've never talked to him about that. I will next time. Well, you think about this, okay? We want you to be the first ones to test this backpack. We've not done a EVA in, I think my notes here say 10 years. Okay, where's my notes there? Yes, the first untethered U.S. extravehicular activity, EVA, in 10 years, all right? So we want you to do that, all right? And here you are, nothing tied to you. Of course, when the astronauts do spacewalks on the International Space Station, they do have a wire tether that's connected to them, but they have the SAFER system on there in case something would go wrong. But wrap your head about that, all right? You just say untethered spacewalk. Oh, yeah, he did that. But think about what he's doing. He is a satellite orbiting Earth. There's my spaceship. How far away do they want me to go? Hope this thing works, all right? Of course, they would probably be able to get close and grab him with a robotic arm or something. But they had not one but two of them testing it there. One of them on the arm there. That's a cool picture there that Marty chose for our backdrop today. And that is Mark Lee and Carl Meade. And I saw a comment by Tom Celentano who said he met Carl Meade several times, the first Italian-American astronaut. Okay, I'll buy that. Carl Mead. And all right, so Archie Jubilee's got a frog there and a cricket emoji. That's cute. All right, glad you all enjoyed. Hi, Dr. Keith Sewell. He's now going to teach astronomy there in Arkansas. Got and appreciate how you are involved in space education there, my friend Keith Sewell there. So I was looking for any other comments there. There's Elena is on board today, and there's sorry I didn't get to see Mitch Rothman, but he's back at Lake Wales and going to be heading back there. And Steve Jokums, he's got a guest there that the tiled areas in the lower front of the OMS pods is what he thinks the eyeballs are there. So let's see if he's right or not. All right. Let's look at another shuttle of the month. And like I said, this is important to us as outreach to not forget. These astronauts are in your community talking about the missions. And when we've got two missions launched on the same date, that's unusual. STS-115 was launched at September 9, 2006 at 11:15, orbiter Atlantis, the first assembly mission to the International Space Station after the Columbia disaster. So it marked 4 years that we'd not been taking a hard hat mission to the space station. Let me get my notes on that. Let's get the crew up there. Let's look at the wanted to show you that, of course, y'all know I love the wackiness of the juxtaposition. So here we are on the 9th on my chart. The dates of the months at the bottom. The side is the number of mission launched in the month by the calendar date. So on the 9th, we've got, there's the 9th, STS-69, 106, 64, and 115 orbiting. 4 shuttles. And a bunch of crew can say, I was orbiting on this date in history. We will increase that to 2, 4, 6, 7 on the 12th. All right. When we will have 47 astronauts aboard 7 spaceships. How cool is that? That's almost 7 each times 7 be 49. So probably the biggest date on the calendar where the most people are orbiting Earth from America is September 12th to the 18th when 69 lands there. So a lot of astronauts involved there. And Commander Brett Jett, let's look at the astronauts here. Brett Jett is on the left there, seated. This was his 4th mission and last flight. Rookie Chris Ferguson. All right. Oh, no, Jet's over there on the right. Yeah, that's Fergie. Fergie's right there. That's Fergie. And then Jet on the other side. Rookie pilot. Let's see. Fergie had, that's what they all call him, Ferguson. I think he had 3. His first of 3 flights. Then you've got Heidi Marie Stefanischen Piper. Her first of 2 missions there on the left. And Joe Tanner's in the middle there. Joe become a friend of the museum at Shuttle Fest 4. I know many of you met Joe. What a great guy. What a fun guy. In fact, I emailed him before the show and said we're going to be talking about 115, a little bit about you, Joe, today. So if you've joined us, thank you for spreading the word about our fabulous museum, and thank you for the patches and decals that I've given out to a lot of people so far. He brought me a big pack of decals and patches out of his stash there after giving family members all they needed. So, but this was his 4th and last flight. Then we've got on the other side, you got Dan Burbank and Stephen. That was his 2nd of 3 flights for Burbank. And then on the outside row there, you see the patch of Canadian there. That's Stephen McLean, the 2nd and last mission for the Canadian there. All right, they would do a series of spacewalks. Tanner and Piper would connect power cables on the 17-ton, 45-foot long truss. They took up the backbone of the space shuttle, space station, I mean, up there. Canada 2 arm was used to do things. That was a breakthrough up there. And the solar array wings were put on there. And Tanner and Heidi did 2 EVAs, the first and third one. And they powered up the cooling radiator for the newly unfolded solar arrays, replaced an S-band antenna that provided backup communications, and then they installed insulation for another communication antenna. And they took photos of the shuttle's wings with an infrared camera to test its ability to detect damage. And then the solar arrays were completely unfurled on the 14th of the month. Something I like to point out is, let me put those over there. The patch here. Now, when I see this patch, I think of an aircraft carrier. The solar panels just look like the landing of an aircraft carrier there. And let's get to see what 115, what's the symbolism behind it. This is the 115 insignia. The patch was designed by Graham Huber, G.G. Louis, and Peter Hugh in connection with the York University in Toronto, Canada. This mission continues the assembly of the International Space Station with the installation of truss segments P3 and P4. Following the installation of these segments, utilizing both the shuttle and the station robotic arms, a series of 3 spacewalks completed the final connections and prepared the deployment of the second set of solar arrays, thus the solar arrays prominently there. To reflect the primary mission of the flight, the patch depicts a solar panel as the main element, as that I say is an aircraft carrier landing strip. As the space shuttle Atlantis launches towards the ISS, its trail depicts the symbol of the astronaut office, the 3 vectors there on the bottom. The starburst, representing the power of the sun, rises over the Earth and shines on the solar panel. The shuttle flight number 115 is shown at the bottom of the patch, along with the ISS assembly designation 12A, the 12th American Assembly Mission, if you wonder what that A was about in the 12. Now you know. The blue Earth in the background reminds us of the importance of space exploration and research to all of Earth's inhabitants. The NASA insignia designed for shuttle flights is reserved for use by the astronauts and for other official use as NASA administrator may authorize, but you can't change the patches in any shape or form. And there's a shuttle in the background too, floating around. I mean, a space station with the new solar panels prominently shown there. So, very beautiful blue. Sticks out for some reason. Like I said, those solar panels with the stack of the shuttle there, very visual on there. There's our buddy Joe Tanner. Heidi took this picture, not a selfie, but this is your classic, "Hi, Mom, here I am." And I just love the pale blue, the blue atmosphere there in the corner. What a good guy Joe Tanner is. There he is speaking at the American Space Museum's Shuttle Fest 4 last April. He lives in West Colorado. Such a great guy. He said, "Mark, if you don't come see me, it's your own fault. Just call me and make sure I'm there." And I'll do that one time, Joe. Looking forward to it. But also, I think we'll try to effort getting him online here. And if we can remote him in, we'll try to do that on this mission or the next one on there. But there he is talking to Don Thomas. Don't know what they're talking about. He's showing him something on his camera there. And that's in our Mercury Gallery, Mercury Gemini Gallery on our fundraising Friday for Shuttle Fest 4 there. So thank you, Joe Tanner, for being so accessible to yourself. Marty, it was kind of odd how we met him. Remember how we met him for the first time?
Yeah, Joe, we met him in the parking lot
Yeah, we met him
outside
in
the
the
Hyatt.
parking lot. We were just putting the trailer out at the Hyatt Place parking lot, and he hear this guy say behind me, he says, I'm supposed to go to that museum tomorrow. I hope it's good. And I turn around, there he is, and he's got his backpack and just a duffel bag. And he hadn't even checked in yet. And we probably talked for almost 40 minutes. Uh, so that's where the good friendship started. And very approachable, very, very. You know what I loved about Shuttlefest 4, Marty, was watching Don Thomas, Eileen Collins, who was there, Joe Tanner, sitting in the audience, just taking in the panels that were going on that they weren't on, and just enjoying it. And all of them told me they thoroughly enjoyed uh, the astronauts, the space workers, and all of the panel discussions there. And we've got a big lineup for Shuttlefest 5, and we'll tease you a little bit with it here at the end of our program today, which we're just a pair of minutes from doing here. Marty, what part? Go ahead, buddy. Let's.
Okay, the eyeballs are the black tiles that were added to the leading section of the OMS pod due to higher heat levels than expected during re-entry. Now, Eric Baker will elaborate a whole lot more than that.
Yes, he will. And that, of course, Steve Jokums. You can't get nothing by Steve there, and we don't want to. He's great. There is the OM's pod. The eyeball is on the right there. And Eric Baker will tell you why those were put there. Those are hot area there that they didn't suspect. So that was an improvement. And here from space, you see the two eyeballs on each side on this flip around, one of the orbiters there at the International Space Station inspection there. So the eyeballs are indeed the black tiles on the OM's pods, and now you know. So thank you, everybody, for watching today. We want to make sure that you save the date of June 19th, 20th, and 21st for our Shuttlefest 5. We are adding astronauts to this. Not going to tell all of them right now till I get their absolute confirmation. But we do have astronaut. We're going to kind of feature a Star City Saturday with NASA at Star City, American astronauts on Russian spaceships. After our Friday fundraiser at the museum, Saturday will be Star City Saturday, and then we'll have Space Shuttles Sunday, and put the other astronauts that we have that weren't involved in Star City and going either to the Mir space station or the International Space Station on a Russian Soyuz. So, but we do have confirmed Norm Thagard. All right, going to feature Norm and have him talk about the first person to go to the Mir space station. Then we're going to have, but the morning will be about Star City and living there. Mike Baker, twice a pilot, twice a commander of a shuttle. He will be talking about his, I think, 3 years as director of operations at Star City for NASA. And Don Thomas I've invited back, not to do his woodpecker story. Maybe he'll do that after hours for you. The STS-30, STS-70 All Ohio crew and the woodpecker that did all that damage to the ET was a wonderful show. And but Don said he'd come back because he spent a year as director of operations at Star City. So we're anxious to feature this and get some perspective that you've never heard before. Another astronaut that's committed is Tom Jones, definitely wants to come. Also Terry Wilcutt. Now, Terry Wilcutt visited the International Space Station twice. The Mir Space Station twice as a pilot and then a commander. So we're going to get him involved with it. We've also got
Sid Gutierrez.
Jose Hernandez, we're hoping to effort.
Sid Gutierrez.
Oh, Sid Gutierrez. Yes, Sid's another one. I have to have him confirmed when we switched the date from April for a good reason. April's big tourism time and expensive, and June will be more affordable, and you can take your families with you. Enjoy some time before and after the weekend of Shuttle Fest. June 22nd will be Father's Day, so we'll get a cake or something for all the fathers out there, or send your father to Shuttle Fest 5 as the ultimate Father's Day gift. So, yeah, I've got to confirm a bunch of them. I'm not going to blurt them out right now, but we could have a potential of 8 to 10 astronauts at this. And of course, how are we going to afford all that? We'll have to get some sponsors for it. That's what Marty Winkle and the Shuttle Fest committee met yesterday. Marty, got anything to report to the people that have been to Shuttle Fest about anything that came out of yesterday's meeting that would interest them?
No, nothing that was finalized, Mark. We had a lot of good discussion, a lot of good ideas. It's too early to really talk about what we talked about yesterday.
Yeah, we're going to have a big autograph session. We're hoping to have a photograph that you can take buy a photograph with you and the astronauts that attend. But it's all about the fellowship, people just getting to hang out, tripping over a few astronauts as you're walking around the room. The Cocoa Beach Hilton's the perfect place for us to find it there. Yes, it's the Hilton, and as were our shuttle astronauts for a great venue like the Hilton. And we had a blast at the Hyatt Place, but it's just not big enough for more than like 150 people. And and that had a lot of logistical problems. But we're going to layer in there breakfast with an astronaut, lunch with an astronaut. This is a fundraiser for the American Space Museum. So start saving your money now. Ask Santa Claus for a big check so you can come to Shuttle Fest 5 and enjoy it like so many of you watching today have enjoyed it on there. And Jim McDade, you need to come to it. Hope to see you at it next year. Jim usually comes to the Astronaut Scholarship Foundation Hall of Fame events. So thank you, everybody, for helping me kick off another week of Stay Curious. We'll put together another program tomorrow about who's in space. Let's talk about that a little bit tomorrow. I'm going to take on some more things that are happening, catch up for me of what's been going on the Space Coast here. We'll look at how those hearings on the Starship went here on the Space Coast. Then Thursday, September 11th, we will have Carlton Bailey. I don't see CB commenting here, Marty. Did you see him on there?
No.
Well, Carlton's going to be here, so I need to check with him Thursday and talk about some of the space launches that he photographed in the month of September. And then Friday, we'll have Eric Baker come on and give you a wonderful program on upgrades of the shuttle through its 30-year history. He's going to do it in chronological order. Of course, that starts with things like the ET tank was painted white for the first 2 launches, and then they decided to save 600 and some pounds by not painting it, and you just see that iconic orange from STS-3 on. So, Marty, anything else over there catch your eye that we'll have to catch up with?
Amy Collins is suggesting that would be a good trivia question. How many Americans have launched and landed in Russia?
You add them up, Amy, and let us know, and we'll throw it out there.
She did an AI check and came out with 146.
Oh, okay.
And that's through AI, so she's
146
manual count.
Americans on Russian spacecraft? No. It's not even 50. Different. No. Russians on American spacecraft. That's a good one. Steve Jokums, you dig that up. I say it's 12. All right. So not 146. There's only 638 humans have orbited the Earth. All right. So, Amy, dig into that and don't believe AI. Trust none of what you see, less of what you hear, and check your own facts. As I did, actually, I had that somewhere that Sonny Williams' birthday was today. And when I fact checked that, no, she's born the 19th of September, not the 9th. So Well, hope to see some of you at Jay Honeycutt's Legends Dinner tonight. It'll be our tomorrow night. Tomorrow night, I'm going to see Winston Scott play his trumpet at the Italian American Club there. So, got to scoot out of here to catch that. So, thank you all for watching. Stay curious. Thank you for supporting our museum this way. We are open to suggestions for a lot of things as we're trying to make Stay Curious even more popular and fit the needs of you out there, the space geeks. So thank you, Marty, for all that you do. In my absence, I appreciate that a lot, keeping the program going. Also, Matthew Raj, our employee here, helped, I think, Friday, didn't he? Did you golf Friday, Marty, or was it too rainy?
No, I got 9 holes, but Friday, but 18 Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
We won't talk about the score.
Okay. Well, we won't talk about the score, but you got good exercise, and it's always great to get out. And I'll get back into it. It's a lot of fun to golf down here in January and February, and and look at your weather report up in Tennessee, where it's freezing.
Actually, people I golf with, they say for an 81-year-old man, I'm doing pretty good.
There you go. Uh-oh, he revealed his age there. An octogenarian. Marty, thank you for all that you do. One of the greatest volunteers this museum's ever had, bar none. So until tomorrow, when we're going to talk about some current events stuff, why not, and see what's happening in space history, I'm Mark Marquette saying I can't wait to see you again to bridge the space between us.